So, welcome to another episode of Unlock, our lovely podcast. So, today I wanted to talk about onboarding. So, October 31st, which is classified as Halloween today. And, we've been working a lot in our business the last couple of weeks on onboarding. And even a day like today, where people are more likely to not want to come into work, etc., we've been seeing a great turnaround. So, I thought I'd speak about this. So, the first thing that I've learned, and it's kind of funny because it shouldn't take somebody 7 years to learn. So hopefully, if you're listening to this and you want to increase your onboarding, your retention, the way all the money you spend to work with more people so that they can, not only start and get offered a position, but show up and actually attack the path of whatever career, then this is extremely helpful. So over the last few years, here at the office, I would say, have had a 7, 8, maybe 9 out of 10 culture. If you ask me, in my opinion, it's obviously biased, but lots of people have come to visit. Lots of people have come over. I'm going to say over 150 people have visited us over the last year, 2 years. And the number one question we usually get is, well, why is the energy so good? Why is everybody so happy? Why do people come and earn? So that's why I am, giving us a 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 9 out of 10 ranking on a culture scale. And, I still believe that our culture is flawed because, you know, the industry we are in, we have big turnover and it's okay because not everybody's in a position, or not everybody's mentally ready to move into a role where they have to eat what they kill and, commissions, sales, etc. And so that filters out a lot of people. But naturally, if we have a good product, we should be able to attract people not only that haven't been in the industry, but people that are in the industry already. And I noticed that, in 1 year, we hired over 1,500 people, which is between 20 and 30 per week. Just so you know, it's a big number. And about half of those that actually showed up to work. So call it 750 people. Well, only 30% of those, which out of 750, that would be 225, actually worked here more than 6 days. So I hate that. Out of 750 people, that means over 500 actually quit in their first 6 days, which I think is a flaw it's our flaw. It's our fault, and it's very easy to blame, whatever we do is very hard. But I really believe that there's a flaw. So the first thing is knowing your data. And I would challenge anyone to think that if you trust me and you believe our culture is really, it's a high energy culture. People are happy to come to work. And we still have a 70% churn on employees on the first 6 days, then you're probably experiencing something similar. It actually goes up to 89% on 30 days. So that means out of 750 people hired over the year, only 75 are left after 4 weeks. So that's, almost 90% people quit after 30 days. So I realized, we got to do something to fix this. And as crazy as it sounds, we've never done this, but so me and one of my mentors, Raf, we went to a workshop in Vegas and we hanging out with Alex and Leila Hermosi, and we got qualified to go. And, we paid $5,000 and we learned a lot from their company. They started in 2021, acquisition.com started 2021. They're at 500 million a year. So lots to learn from people that are in their early 30s and crushing life. So we went there and we felt like total idiots because the first thing that they're asking us is well, if 90% of people are quitting in the first 30 days, you must have lots of data as of why. And even though I can guess why, we actually had no data. So we had no surveys other than bad reviews that people have left. A lot of people leave for good reasons. And so the first thing we started implementing is having crazy amount of surveys, a crazy amount of data collecting. And I think companies don't really ever mature to this level because I'm looking to people that are running with me and I'm like, wow, no one's doing this. And it's such a simple thing. Just collect the data. If you want to improve a stat, then find out why is the stat bad. And so we're starting to ask people, well, why'd you leave? Why'd you not stay after you decided to come in? Why'd you not stay? And some of the reasons make sense. Some of them don't. Some of the reasons do make. Some people don't answer, or the people that do, and the people that make sense, they're giving us feedback that can help us improve. So I would recommend, you know, ourselves and all of our office people here, we're telling them like, hey, we're going to collect surveys and we're going to survey every person for everything good and bad, because that's the only true raw data that we have to actually improve. And it's so simple. You go to jotform.com or whatever, survey.com, and you just get a survey and you send it to everybody. You milk it into your onboarding system or your offboarding system, and that's it. And then you just, whatever people say, you just do it. And so that was the first thing. The second thing is, off of surveys and off of, industry experience, I realized that especially, 2024, people want to make money very quickly. So not that that was different 10 years ago, but now there's a lot more. Like, you can get on your phone right now and sign up to Uber Eats, Instacart, and you can donate plasma. You can go for free. Takes you an hour. You go donate plasma or less. You make $500 that day. You can go buy people's groceries on Instacart and get paid that day. Then you can go deliver food. If you actually have a good work ethic, you can make $200 a day pretty easy, working 8 to 10 hours on your own schedule, working these apps, working the new, millennial Uber Eats, Door Dashing system of the world, 1099, you can do your thing. And so, because it's so easy to access money daily, not that people need more money now that they needed 10 years ago. I'm sure inflation and all that, that's not my place to speak. I have no clue. But because it's more accessible, it's easier to access money tonight now than it was 10 years ago. People have got used to it and people are entitled to it. So when you have an industry that already has turnover, or you have an industry like ours in sales that is already tough for people, if you add the toughness of getting paid quickly, or getting paid, 2 weeks after you start, plus the uncertainty of the job, then that's going to really hinder growth in onboarding, which is what I want to talk about. So we started a bonus. We calculated, okay, how much money does the average person that stays 30 days here, how much do they normally bring into the company? Let's say it's $2,000 in profit. If they bring $2,000 in profit, we can easily give them $1,500 in advance, because in their first 30 days, they're going to bring 2,000. So we can give them $1,500 in advance, and we don't make money on the first $1,500, but we gain and we actually onboard the person, which is eventually going to bring more money, more people, more revenue. So we created a bonus to where, again, the only thing that beats free, the only thing that beats like Uber Eats or whatever, is the opportunity and the growth. But Uber Eats has the money and you can get it tonight. You can go serve at a bar and get paid cash tonight. You can go serve at a restaurant and get paid cash tonight. And I realized we can't do that. We can't pay people tonight, but we can certainly figure out a way to pay people faster. So instead of somebody getting paid in 2 weeks after they start, we can get them paid their next week after they start. They don't really have a paycheck because how the pay period works, but they do have an opportunity to get paid faster if they hit XYZ commitments that we obviously are conditioning them to go through. And we're able to advance somebody $500 or $900 or $1,500 that they would never make. And it's technically on that weekly report that is a loss to the company, but we're adding the body, right? And at the end of the day, that's really what we're trying to improve, is the retention, the onboarding of the person. So number one, surveys. Number two is, how can you get people money faster without making a huge loss to your business, to your company, to whatever program you're doing, or to whatever department you're running? You got to figure out a way to get people money quickly, because they can love the opportunity to be there, but if they don't like, if they cannot pay their bills or support their families as fast as other options, even if those options aren't as good long term, people are so built up into their next week, their next 2 weeks, they're so like, they're floating, they're trying to survive and just stay above water, that people are not able to look 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years ahead. And so that's what we found ourselves doing. And immediately, big changes: survey, onboarding bonus, again, all built up around conditions that allow the company not to lose money. And then we saw a huge change. And I'm excited, because I'm like, wow, this business is so easy to fix. when you have 25 new people. And then all of a sudden we have 20, 25 new people and I am sending people home. Now it's no longer a requirement to go work. It's actually you've got to qualify for it. So now I have, from like 3, 4 weeks ago, I'm almost begging people to stay and begging people to work because I lose a lot of people, 90% in the first 30 days. To now I have so many people that I'm like, you got to go home because you just have like you have a weak face and your attitude isn't good. So you're just going to go home and think about if you really want to do this. We sent 2 people home today because they were like 2 minutes late and we just don't want to deal with it. The reality is we have the leverage now that we can do this. And I think this is the position you want to be in when you're running whatever you're running. You want to be in a position of strength and you want to be in a role where you have the power, not to impose your power and authority and none of that, but just because you're the business person and you're supposed to be the one that the person in the driver's seat. So now we have people that want to work and we say, hey, no, like you got to put more effort if you want to work here because obviously everyone stays and now it's a fact. And I think it is the first time, and this is something that it's kind of peaceful, but it's on it. It's awesome. Our business is really based on, it's a recruiting business. Any sales business is a recruiting business, right? And uh, it is the first time I think in 4 years. So it's been over 1,000 days that we have been doing interviews every single day. We have so many people applying, and the demand is there. There's 7 or 8 billion people in DFW, the Metroplex, Dallas Fort Worth. So that's not an issue. But this is like the first. Did I say billion? I meant to say million. Yeah. There's 7 or 8 or 9, I think, million people in DFW. So there's a lot of people applying for jobs. That's not the problem. But it is, I think, the first time in over 1,200 days, over 4 years of work, every single day, that we don't do an interview. We had to stop our recruiting department, which is giving people like a break, a little bit of time to like recalibrate, which I think is awesome and fantastic because we have so many people that we cannot onboard more because now everyone is staying. And I just want everyone to feel and to have the opportunity and the chance to notice like, dude, you can go from like struggling with this where I know people that spend hardworking people, 30, 40 hours of their week inside of their work is obviously longer than this, but out of the whole 60, 70, 90-hour work weeks they spend 40 to 50 on recruiting only to retain 10% of people after 30 days that you have a culture like ours. Chances are you don't. And that you are, if you're better, maybe it's 15%. If you're worse, then it's 5%. But imagine spending 40 hours and we live like this and we make enough money, but it's insane that that there are people right now spending, maybe it's you, spending 50 hours a week on one task, which is recruiting. And this doesn't count the hours that you're spending. Maybe you have people helping, so that adds more hours. And imagine the money spent, the budget, only to like take 10% of people. It's such a crappy return. And man, it feels so good to really just working on fixing this. Number one, do a survey. Number two, and you'll notice on your survey, people need money fast. And if you give people money fast and they actually have an opportunity to grow, the job matters a little bit less because there are people out there working 50 or 60 years on the same chair, on the same spreadsheet, on the same company, and they're not complaining. And the only one reason they're not complaining is because they're paying their bills. And, whether that's good or not, it's the truth. So, we noticed this and we're literally going through this week right now. We have no interviews. Our mornings are a lot easier. Our mornings are developing and actually training individuals versus just worried about hiring more and recruiting the next person. We're actually focused on the people that we have here. And it's just, I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 7 years now. And this is the first week in the last 4. So after COVID, this is the first week in the last 4 years that we haven't hired anybody. And we said, hey, we got to stop the growth because we have so many people that we need to train. And it's not only super peaceful, but super exciting. Our company, and you'll see it, Claire will remind me in a few weeks, but it's probably going to double in size locally at our local office in the next 30 to 60 days because the people are coming in, they're getting trained properly, they're getting more attention. And as soon as we turn back on the recruiting spigot, and we need to add more people because now we have these people trained, it's going to be a positive madhouse. So really excited about onboarding now that we kind of learned to take control, frustrated about the fact that the answer was so easy. just ask people why they are not here after they accept it, and then fix whatever they say that the issue is. But overall, really positive. So that's what I got. Hopefully that helps. Thanks.